Hey guys, JamesMCD Reviews here, and welcome to another episode of the Cinematic Bucket List series. Now, a couple weeks ago, the fine folks over at TTFT did a live stream counting down their top 10 favorite holiday movies. Be sure to check that out if you haven't seen it already. I was present in the live chat giving my list too, and a lot of us had pretty much the conventional entries that you would expect to have on a holiday movies list. Your Home Alones, your Christmas Stories, your Vacations, and everything like that. But that was until we got to my number one.
James, number one, The Polar Express.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Going anime on us.
James.
Tom.
Oh, come on, David.
Bro, we got past all. I'm not going.
I can't say that's not the reaction that I expected, because I have come to find out that the reception for this movie has been pretty polarizing. But it did get me really wanting to talk about it, and it honestly kind of lined up perfectly that AMC was doing a $5 favorites screening of this movie this past weekend. So today I'm going to be talking about The Polar Express, released in 2004, directed by Robert Zemeckis. This is based on the children's book of the same name and is about a young boy who is questioning whether or not Santa exists when he's whisked away on a magical train to go to the North Pole and to see for himself. Now, I should preface this by saying that both the movie and the book that it's based on were a huge part of my childhood and played a huge role in my family's Christmas traditions. Like, in the weeks leading up to Christmas, we would watch the movie and we had it on in the background while we're like decorating the tree and everything. And on Christmas Eve, after we finished, setting up the milk and cookies and everything, we would like cuddle up with my mom and read the book before bed and everything like that. As the years went on, we did kind of fall out of doing that tradition, mainly because my brother was an idiot and never wanted to participate, and since he wasn't willing to do it, the rest of us kind of lost interest. Point is, regardless of what I say about this movie, I am always going to have a soft spot in my heart for it. But with that being said, I don't think that I've seen this movie all the way through for like years. So as much as, I've got a warm place in my heart for it, and there are definitely things that I like about it, which I'll get into, fucking hell does this movie not hold up at all. Going over the things that don't work, let's just get the obvious one out of the way: the character animations. Woof. I fully respect what Robert Zemeckis had in mind when he was, he was trying to revolutionize the whole like 3D animation thing with the whole motion capture and, pushing the technology and everything like that. And that's great. But in 2004, I definitely don't think that the technology was there, because Jesus Christ, these character animations, they all move with the grace and fluidity of an upright vacuum cleaner. And their faces all look like they were curb stomped by a much better looking CGI effect. I honestly think that watching it on a big screen put into perspective how poorly these effects have aged. Because like, when you're watching it at home on TV, it's not like as noticeable, especially when you're a kid. You're not like picking out things to, make fun of or noticing the things that are wrong with the animation and everything. But when you're watching it on a giant screen where those things are like front and center, you're like, ooh, this has aged like fucking milk. Like, another very obvious problem, which is something that a lot of, movie adaptations of children's books run into, is that it is way too goddamn long. Like, it definitely goes by fast, but like, you feel like this is just padding. Like, all the musical numbers, all of the, action sequences, because the Polar Express needs fucking action sequences. All this stuff is just there to drag the movie out to 90 minutes, and it shows. Like, I'll give them a pass on the hot chocolate sequence, because like, I'd be lying, like, even if, again, going back to the animation, even if the movement on the waiters is very like stilted and awkward and everything like that, I'd be lying if I said I still didn't, grin a little bit during that sequence. It was a fun sequence and the song was definitely catchy. But aside from that, all the other like musical numbers in the movie just feel like unnecessary, and it strikes me that like they were hoping that like one of these songs was going to be like a Christmas classic, or maybe even get an award nomination for that year. I don't know. But the action sequences and just the scenes of just movement that are literally just there to be like, hey, look at the cool technology we're showcasing. Like, you know how a lot of people, when they were talking about the Lion King live action movie, when they were talking about that scene of the little tuft of Simba's hair, like going on a journey all the way to Rafiki's tree that lasts for about like 2 minutes. There's at least 5 of those moments in this movie that are literally just there for padding. It's funny, I remember one year my dad had bought a copy of this movie on DVD because they had re-released it in 3D, but it was a really cheap 3D with like the red and blue glasses and everything like that. I mean, we still watched it, and we still, you know, because we're kids, and we still enjoyed it. But that's honestly what this feels like. It feels less like a narrative and more like a theme park attraction. There are 5 goddamn roller coaster sequences in this movie. Like, and it feels just like something like you would play in a video game, like the Polar Express VR experience, everything like that. Also, the whole, like, basis of the story with this kid's crisis of faith of, you know, whether or not Santa exists is, for one, I just don't think is a really good, like, thing to base a children's movie off of anyway, just because, you know, they're still, like, when they see this, they are still, you know, like, young enough to have that innocence and have that, you know, have that magic and everything like that. They don't need to be having, you know, existential crises over, you know, fictional people just yet. That's what religion is for. But I think it also just gets really confused with all of the, you know, different, like, speeches that the adults give in this movie about, you know, seeing is believing, and then right around the next scene is, you know, the best things in the world are the things we can't see. And then all sense and logic goes out the window when they get to the North Pole and Santa is actually real and they can see him. Like, they did touch on this whole thing a little bit in the book, but it's, like, short enough that you don't really pay much attention to it. With here, it's the focus of the movie, and it muddles, you know, what's supposed to be this, like, very magical and whimsical experience with the whole, like, existentialism and, like, combating cynicism and everything like that. Which, I mean, you know, I don't, like, fully disagree with the whole combating cynicism around the holidays and everything like that. But, I mean, you know, for kids, it's fine. But for, you know, other people, it's not that black and white, if that makes any sense. Now, as much as I've been crapping on this movie, there are some things that I do genuinely like about it. For one thing, I made fun of the animation, but I do think that the backgrounds are really pretty and really well done. I think they, you know, they feel right out of the book. They're just vast looking and full of atmosphere, and, you know, you feel like you're there, you're on this journey with them. And honestly, that's the one thing, is when it's being the book, it's good. When it's being the book and not this, you know, theme park attraction, you know, with this believe goddammit message about it, it's good. Like, the sequences are decent, and, you know, it feels like, it doesn't feel phoned in. Like, this doesn't feel like something like A Cat in the Hat or, you know, any number of, like, you know, movies based on children's books where they just slap some shit together and called it a day. These guys clearly tried, because, like, if you just take, like, a frame, like, random frames from this movie and put them side by side with pictures from the book, it looks very, very close, like as close as you could possibly get. But I don't know, I just feel like it got too lost in, like, trying to be a spectacle, that it kind of missed the point of, like, why the Polar Express is such a good book and such a captivating story. Like, I don't know, I feel like this would have worked so much better as a short film and not an hour-and-a-half long movie if it, you know, if it kept the runtime, like, tight and just, like, focused on, like, the experience rather than, because, I mean, that's the other thing, is, like, you know, there's a very thin line between experience and, you know, spectacle, and I know those kind of get confused sometimes, but I feel like an experience feels real and it's almost unnoticeable, whereas with a spectacle, you notice it. Like, it's very flashy and in your face. And that's what this movie is. Like, I feel like if it had, you know, if it had scaled back a little bit and just kind of focused on the experience rather than shoving a bunch of special effects in your face and, you know, the like keeping closer to the spirit of the book, then it probably would have been a lot better and looked on a lot more fondly than it is now. As is, like, I am fully comfortable with admitting that this is a bad movie, but again, I have a soft spot in my heart for it. I will still probably watch it every year around Christmas time, and I'm sure, you know, when I hypothetically have kids of my own, I will read them the book around Christmas time and show them this movie. And then in about 20 odd years, I'll show them the movie again, and then we can laugh about how terrible it is together. So, I don't know. Like I said, a bit of an all over the place review. Again, it is a bad movie, but it's at least charming in certain spots. And at the very least, it didn't bore me. So, going to my ranking, I'd have to give this a 3.5 out of 5. But anyway, that does it for this video. Let me know down in the comments what you think of The Polar Express, if you've seen it. Did you grow up watching it? Did you grow up reading the book? What are your thoughts? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know all that stuff down below. And what's your favorite Christmas movie that you watch every year? Look forward to more videos coming soon, but until then, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you can stay up to date on when I'm posting. Follow me on all my social media, subscribe to my main channel. Everything you need to know will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.
Never take the rest.